Sailor wasn't supposed to stop. The Corellian directive was clear: observe, report, and interfere only if the situation warranted planetary-level implications. But as her patrol ship skimmed the wreckage orbiting Orvan's belt, the human's biosignature blinked faintly on her screen. Barely alive, buried under slag debris and carbon-scored armor. Against orders, she docked, and when she peeled back the half-melted hull, she found him, bloodied, scorched, breathing through sheer will. A Terran. She didn't understand why her hands moved before her mind agreed. Perhaps curiosity. Perhaps something else. She initiated emergency stasis, locked coordinates, and jumped back to the Corellian flotilla, her comms echoing static warnings of disciplinary action. But no one stopped her. The being she'd rescued looked ordinary, smaller than most Corellians, muscle-dense, eyes sharp, even unconscious. His uniform, black with crimson trim, bore no markings recognizable to Corellian databanks. A Terran military division they hadn't yet cataloged? The medics hesitated. Terran biology was notoriously stubborn, too reactive, immune systems aggressive, nervous systems volatile. Yet within hours, the human stabilized. His name was Elias Vorn. When he awoke, he didn't scream or ask where he was. He simply looked at Sayla and asked, "Was it you?" She nodded. "You saved a Terran," he said, voice rough as broken stone. "That means something." She didn't know what he meant. Not then. The words carried weight, not data. He spoke with steadiness that unsettled her. Corellians avoided sentiment, too unstable, too corrosive. But Elias made it feel like certainty, like fact. He didn't talk much at first. But when he did, the crew listened, not because of volume or authority, but the way he chose his words. He told stories. Earth's endless wars, the oceans they crossed for loyalty, the mountains climbed for revenge or love. He didn't glamorize it. He described it like breath. As if loyalty wasn't virtue, it was instinct. The crew began to shift. Quietly, subtly, they spent more time in the observation decks near his recovery room. Sayla noticed an officer quoting one of his stories in casual debate. Another asked if Earth's loyalty was truly earned through one act of compassion. She asked him that herself one evening. "You really believe saving one life deserves what? A thank you? A gift?" Elias met her eyes and said, "No, it deserves recognition. And recognition from Earth means a universe changes shape around you." She laughed, until she realized he wasn't joking. What no one aboard knew, what not even Elias knew, was that in the final moments before blacking out, his distress beacon had activated, and Earth had heard it. A signal encrypted in a dead Terran dialect had slipped past Corellian filters, burning through long-range ether and hitting an Earth listening post buried under Europa's ice. The signal was clear. Terran commander, status, compromised. Host vessel, Corellian signature detected, coordinates attached. Sayla didn't understand why she kept checking the long-range scanner. Maybe guilt, maybe curiosity, maybe the echo of Elias's words whispering at the edge of her reason. It wasn't until the stars near the fringe began to shift, distort ever so slightly, that she realized something was coming. Something vast. Something human. The distortion grew clearer over hours, not minutes. Sayla watched in silence as the Corellian deep skin array registered gravitational displacement far beyond their scale. Mass readings spiked, then flatlined, failing to comprehend what loomed beyond the system's edge. She ran recalibrations 3 times. The numbers didn't change. Something colossal had entered their quadrant, silent, unannounced, and deliberate. Then the veil parted. A Terran dreadnought phase in, quiet as death, wrapped in stealth matrices that flickered once before deactivating like a courtesy. It moved with the weight of intent, not aggression. Its hull black as vacuum, adorned with crimson etchings like war sigils carved by forgotten ancestors. The designation read, TSS Meridian. Sayla's hands trembled. She didn't know why. No message came immediately. The ship simply held orbit, casting a shadow over the flotilla, like a god assessing an ant colony. The Corellian Council scrambled. Emergency meetings, tactical assumptions, threat level reclassification. Sayla remained silent, The human they saved hadn't made threats. He'd only told stories. But now, one of those stories floated above them in steel and silence. The transmission finally came. Not a demand, not a warning, a statement to the Corellian vessel. This is Terran Command. You rescued Commander Elias Vorn. That act has been acknowledged. That was all. No requests, no follow-ups, just acknowledgement. Yet the weight of it compressed the room, left officers speechless. Elias, still in recovery, heard it and smiled like he'd been waiting for it. Sayla asked him later, "Why would your people send that thing for you? You're one man." He leaned forward, voice low but firm. "We don't do rescue for show. We come because one of us breathes. And if someone else made sure he still breathes, we remember that forever." The dreadnought didn't leave. It remained above them, unmoving. Over the next few rotations, smaller vessels arrived. Terran medical shuttles, drone relays, even a diplomatic barge with no weapon systems, just insignias marking it as an extension of Earth's diplomatic corps. Sayla attended the first meeting out of curiosity. The ambassador was quiet, composed, almost Corellian in demeanor, but when he spoke of Elias, his voice wavered, not with grief, but reverence. Commander Vorn is a hero, but this isn't about him. This is about you. You acted when you didn't have to. Earth remembers. Corellian High Command requested clarity. Were there expectations? Demands? Alliances? No, just recognition. The ambassador repeated. You saved one of ours. That makes you something very few are. You're now under Earth's notice. And Earth protects what it remembers. Whispers rippled through the system. Across the fringe colonies and nearby sectors, news spread. The Corellians had done something unthinkable. They had earned a Terran debt. No one knew what that truly meant. Not yet. But Sayla understood something had shifted. The political map hadn't changed physically, but conceptually, a new border had been drawn, one defined not by territory, but by loyalty. The ceremony took place in low orbit, beneath the shadow of the meridian. No fanfare, no theatrics, just Terran precision and Corellian discomfort blending into a quiet moment that would ripple through the galaxy. Commander Elias Vorn, now walking under his own strength, approached Sayla with something clutched in his hand, a small, dull black object shaped like a terraforged metal, its surface etched with microscopic circuitry and symbols. He extended it to her, without a word. She hesitated. "What is it?" she asked. "A Terran honor sigil," Elias replied, "carved from neutron-forged alloy, issued only to those who stand between death and a Terran. It binds more than metal or protocol." She accepted it, and for the first time in her adult life, felt the weight of something not quantifiable. A gesture, a promise, wrapped in myth. The room fell silent. Even the Corellian delegates, known for disdain towards symbolism, did not object. None could. Later, Terran Ambassador Kalros made it formal. The Corellian vessel, and specifically Officer Sayla, are now recognized as Friends of Earth, a title that carries no legal burden, yet speaks louder than fleets. The Corellians still didn't fully grasp it. They'd encountered warlike species before, aggressors, expansionists. But Earth was different. Their power wasn't defined by how often they used it, but how precisely they chose to act when they did. And when they did act, the consequences were absolute. In the weeks that followed, pirates who once stalked Corellian shipping lanes disappeared without explanation. Smugglers rerouted. Mercenaries refused contracts involving Corellian borders. Even black market networks began filtering out anything that might provoke Earth's attention. Entire sectors shifted in posture, not because of a treaty, but because a single human had been saved. The dreadnought remained, not hovering aggressively, just present, watching, protecting. Word spread across nearby civilizations. The Corellians had become something they'd never been before, untouchable. And it wasn't because of policy or trade. It was because one of them had made a choice. A small act of mercy that, in Terran eyes, demanded eternity in return. Sayla walked her vessel's observation deck daily now, not out of duty but reflection. She watched Terran shuttles dance between orbitals, their crews polite, efficient, emotionally warm in subtle ways the Corellians found both strange and oddly soothing. She asked Elias once more, "Why go this far for just one life?" He didn't answer immediately. Then he said, "Because someone needs to, because when you show us kindness, we remember, and when we remember, we act." That became the unspoken doctrine whispered among Corellian command, a new proverb. To be remembered by Earth is to be shielded by a storm you'll never see coming. And Sayla, once a no-name patrol officer on the edge of neutrality, now bore that shield, not because she asked for it, but because she chose to act when no one else would. Time moved differently after that. The Corellian sectors, once considered diplomatically irrelevant and strategically expendable, became unnaturally quiet. Trade routes stabilized. Piracy plummeted. Even rival empires began redirecting their exploratory fleets to avoid proximity, not because of any formal Earth treaty, but because of whispers. The Meridian remained in orbit, unmoving yet omnipresent. Its communications were sparse. Its weapons never fired again. It didn't need to. Its existence was enough. One ship had rewritten perception of an entire region, not through violence, but presence. Sayla had become its symbolic heart, though she never sought attention. She received transmissions from distant colonies, some offering tribute, others requesting protection, and a few simply asking, "What did you do to earn that ship?" Her answer never changed. "I saved one human." Elias stayed on board, not as a liaison, not as a symbol, but simply because he chose to. He worked among the crew, taught classes on Terran diplomatic behavior. Half lecture, half anecdote. He told stories not just of war, but of unity, sacrifice, absurd Terran traditions, and quiet act of rebellion that changed the course of planets. His presence became more than tolerated. It became essential. He was a lens through which Corellians began to comprehend the soul of a species they'd once dismissed as emotionally erratic and too young to matter. Corellian leadership, however, felt the weight of Earth's loyalty differently. Some welcomed it, some feared it, others saw the strategic implication. They could no longer act without Terran consequence. That invisible tether now shaped every policy. For better or worse, they were remembered. Then came the strike. A rogue faction of raiders, desperate and foolish, attempted to test Corellian space again, targeting Sayla's homeworld. Within minutes, a Terran response force arrived, not from the Meridian, but from 3 separate deep space fleets that had been quietly orbiting other Corellian systems. The assault ended before Corellians could even deploy interceptors. The attackers were annihilated swiftly, cleanly, with surgical Terran precision. The message was clear. Earth was watching, and it would act. In the aftermath, Sayla stood atop the cliffside near her childhood habitat. Elias stood beside her. Below, reconstruction crews already cleared what little damage had been done. Her people were safe, not because of Corellian strength, but because of decisions she had made months ago, alone in deep space. "Do you regret it?" Elias asked her softly. She looked at the honor sigil, now embedded in her uniform like an extension of her identity. She thought of the silence in her sector, the calm in her people, the storms that never came. "No," she said, "but I don't think any of us understood what we invited the day we pulled you from that wreck." He nodded. "Most don't, until they see what loyalty looks like." A new cadet approached them, wide-eyed, unsure, whispering as if afraid to disturb the air. "All this because you saved one man?" Sayla didn't smile. She didn't dramatize. "It was never about one man," she said. "It was about what happens when Earth remembers.